Did you guys notice how Iam Marwa has been asking us to please give him a break? Please let him enjoy this one moment. So you know Iam Marwa has
I know some people complain, but let me enjoy it. It's just my life.
For something, and he's found
Okay,
a little oasis, he thinks. For me, I don't know what kind of oasis is this, Iam Marwa. I mean, Iam Marwa, if you really need to have it, just settle down. We've been telling you. You see, you think that we're against you. We are against that evil spirit that is possessing you, that is making you do these horrible things, that's harming you. You are harming yourself. You're not harming us. We're telling you to stop it. You're begging us to give you a little free time to enjoy. No, we will not give you a little time to enjoy. What you are doing with Luz is wrong. Okay, you want to marry a woman full of tattoo, then marry her, because she will marry you. Okay, so why are you going to have your little fun? You ask for a little time. Now you're moving on to the next lady. What are you doing? So apparently you are no better than her. The two of you will make a perfect couple. Marry her. Okay, Myra? Good news, good news, good news. Myra is going to get married.
I feel like the life of Amish is our life in Africa. No, I mean like
change
the
your
life is
ways,
so
man.
that Amish people live.
I look at you and I'm like, bro, will you ever get married?
Iam Marwa is finally going to tie the knot. Mayugono set it up. Do you remember his conversation with Mr. Mutua?
Question for me, Mr. Mzungu. Okay, very sensitive.
Amish or no Amish? Okay, this is it. Amish or English?
Me, I'm Amish. Amish full time.
Wow, guys, you add for yourself.
That was your question, Mr. Mzungu.
Thank you for bringing
Amish or
it.
English?
Yes. We know it's from God. If you ever need to meet a contact in America, you can trust us.
We can take you to the Amish, Marwa.
Imagine.
And you can take pictures and videos of them all.
Imagine. Even my Amish mama is there waiting for you.
You can have Amish.
Yes, she's waiting.
God bless you.
You are just welcome.
God bless you, brother.
Actually, I feel like the life of Amish is our life in Africa.
So to me, Amish. So guys,
No, I mean like the life we saw that Amish people live.
I think there's only one.
In the middle of the most westernized country, which is America, about the Amish people. I'll explain more about this.
Yes.
For now,
Anyone taking pictures of them at that point will be walking back. It's about 8 miles. Give you an idea of thinking, hey, what did I do wrong? Quickest way to not have that happen is don't take the picture. Simple thing.
Question, sir. How about videos, not pictures?
No, videos, no. You can't take videos of anything.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't take video of any tour. I find you taking videos of
so guys,
You can take still
we came
pictures,
to a place
but not
called
videos.
Amish village.
We can take you to the Amish, Marwa. And you can take pictures and videos of them all.
Imagine, even my Amish mama is there waiting for you. Yes, she's waiting. You are just
Traditional ones. Okay, I'm not running away. And this other side here is for the girls. And when they're 16, they can open those curtains so to attract male. I'm just praying God, like that's
I can't wait to see how pushing that more.
no dating, no arranged marriages.
Definitely.
Hey, Nude,
You did a
cut
great one
walking.
to party with.
yeah.
Look what you guys, this guy
God
is
to
crazy.
happy with you.
Look what you guys.
Camera Maya. So
The
is
boring
polygamy really a thing here
conversation
still?
with
No.
Mr. Mutua.
Wow.
I think that's where it started.
you know,
It must have started that
polygamy-
week when he visited the Amish people, and he was comparing it with Nyabuanse in the village town. Okay, and there was like no access because in the U.S., people are so segregated here in the U.S. And that's one of the situations that he encountered, with Ivan. Ivan is in his own sect, and Mr. Mutua, at least he has his family and things like that. People live very segregated communities here in the U.S. So even when he encountered the Hasidic Jews, he couldn't penetrate much further except to talking to them on the streets. And my experience with the Hasidic Jews is I grew up in Rockland County, where there are a lot of Hasidic Jews there. And my uncles, or my mother's cousins, they are really my cousins, they used to work for these Jewish people. I've worked for them because I guess I used to babysit. At some point, I was like a nurse's aide when I was in high school, and that's how I entered their homes. And of course, there were a lot of Jewish people who were also my teachers, and some of my classmates were Jewish. But the thing is, it's a completely different community, so it's not easy for somebody just come off of Africa, and you're a black African, and you're going to be able to to penetrate into these communities. So Mayugono, it sounds like Iam Marwa sent him. So Iam Marwa might have met this girl, this Amish girl, who is married to an African, a Kenyan, and sent Mayugono. And the door is open for Iam Marwa that he can come back to the United States, where he will be welcomed among the Amish as an Amish, where he will be comfortable within an Amish community and be able to videotape their lifestyle for his audience to see.
Amish full time. Wow, that's you had for yourself.
So that is good news. We are angry at Iam Marwa. He is a seller. He says that we are accusing him of being that. That's what he is. But we accept him for who he is. Why do we still accept him despite the fact that he is a sell-off? Because he still values his culture. You cannot remove the Kenyan, the village boy in Iam Marwa. And that's what we admire about him. But at the same time, he is also teaching us how the Moors might have sold us over to the Europeans. So we're learning that through his mannerisms, as we observe him, it gets some people angry and they just don't watch him anymore. But for me, I want to know, how did it happen? How were we sold over? Because I am the descendant of that race, the generation who went through the Middle Passage. I don't know if any of my ancestries went through Ghana, but wherever they came from, so Mediterranean area is where I was told that I came from, based on that phenotype. It's a genotype, really. Well, it was expressing, so it was a phenotype with my blood. Okay, because when your genes express, they become phenotype. But some of the genes do not express. They remain recessive, and you never really see them expressing. That means that they don't create they don't make the proteins. Even though the genes are there, not all the genes are going to code for the proteins that say my hemoglobin. Okay, so whatever genes that are creating my hemoglobin, it has a phenotype, which is the expressed part of the gene. It has a phenotype of Northeastern African. I have to study Africa to see what kind of countries border that area, say 500 600 years ago, how since my forefathers were shipped from Africa into Haiti. So it is of curiosity for me to see where my ancestry came from. What caused that? What caused my ancestors to be sold into slavery in the Caribbean, to the point where we are still struggling, where we have the black struggle still, even though we won our independence in 1804. Haitians celebrate their Independence Day on as of January 1st, 1804. From the French, we still have that mental slavery. We still have the colorism. So Iam Marwa, he displays that behavior. I don't think the behavior that caused our being sold over ever left Africa. I think when you study certain people and their ways of treating blacks like themselves, and of their ways of selling over blacks, their ways, we learn this is what happened. It didn't die. That behavior was passed on from generation to generation. We also know that there were a lot of Moors who traveled into the south of Europe, like into Spain and things like that. And those Moors, we ask ourselves, did they sell us? Did they help in the process of selling us over? Because the way Myra is like nomadic, he reminds me of a Moor. You know, he didn't want to stay in Africa. He wants to travel the world. And then he loved Europe. You know, he loved Europeans. So that's like what the Moors did. You know, they did not like Africa, I guess. You know, I'm assuming. You know, the fact that they had ships to be able to travel across the Mediterranean to go into South Europe and to settle there, you know, to suffer the discriminations, you know, but then they also interbreed. And that's why you have the darker Spanish people. That's why the Spanish race is so dark, because of the Moors, which were the original Africans that had traveled there way before imperialism. So that's, anyway, Myra has his chance right now to get his European woman. We know that the Amish are either Dutch or German. So, and they live like, you know, they live like simple village type life. So that's the good news. And of course we have the good news about Mrs. Maya's, Miss Trudy's pregnancy is coming along. She explains that that is why she's not with her husband, because the husband needed to travel back to Ghana, and her condition, she says, is the reason why she stayed back.
My mother-in-law and my hubby are going back to Ghana. I have been so grateful that they actually came to see me. I feel so special, you get it? Like they came all the way from West Africa to East Africa. That's like 10 hours away. If you count from Ghana to Ethiopia, 5 hours. You chill in Ethiopia for about 2 hours. Then oh my God, you know, and my mother-in-law is old, you know, so for her to take her energy, her time, oh my God, I feel so loved, and I'm so grateful to have amazing in-laws. We've been having such an amazing time in Kenya, and unfortunately, everything with a beginning has an end. So this is the end. Sometimes the end is so painful. I wish I could go back with them to Ghana, you know. But you guys know how it is. Because of what I had told you initially, I just can't go back to Ghana right now. I've been advised to just stay in Kenya right now. So I'm just gonna listen to the doctor and just stay in Kenya, okay? So
of course, there are other reasons, because I'm listening to the father's conversation with Ms. Maggie, and he is saying that the weather doesn't do, even though she chose a husband from Ghana, the climate was not of her choice. The Ghanaian climate is not her choice. So we don't know where that's at. But I'm also concerned. You know, Miss Trudy, like why Miss Trudy gave Wode Maya permission to have side chicks. Because according to Wode Maya, he spoke with his significant other, he spoke with his spouse, and they had an agreement. And this is why he can go to Ghana, in that place full of, you know, prostitution and all that, and why he feels so comfortable on camera to invite Ivan. So I know Myra had attacked that, but it looks like Miss Trudy was in agreement. They had an agreement together, and this is why Wode Maya is loose in Ghana with his side chicks.
You know where we are right now? This place? Yeah. It's called the Porn Hub of Ghana.
Really?
This place that I'm staying. Why? Like, I don't know how to explain to you. It's where, if it's Friday night, Saturday night, you see all kinds of women. Maybe I need to invite you here. Why don't you?
You know, man doesn't have a Kenyan SIM card, so he was stranded in Westlands. He was trying to call for an Uber. He didn't know how to do it. So apparently, he met a fan who's like, oh my God, Miss Trudy's husband, I'm Miss Trudy's fan. I watch you guys. So I was like, oh, please help me with hotspot. I'm trying to call an Uber. Then this girl tells him that I'm gonna charge you 500 shillings. Oh.
Yeah. If you have the money.
For hotspots. I'm so disappointed. Like, I'm so disappointed. Who does that?
If you have the money to spend, you can have any girl around. Plenty of them. fresh girls and all of that around you. Fact or no?
Yeah, nice.
Am I right?
You can actually go and buy.
You can do the same thing here.
SEX.
Exactly.
He knows where to get it.
They have all the
I'm not
shit.
a man. You
You
can't
can
even
do
respect
that
your
in
woman.
South Africa. Color napkins. Red as fire, orange as mangoes, yellow as banana peels, cream as vanilla, white as snow, red light as the day, orange tan as copper, yellow as banana colored, brown as vanilla, white dark as snow, light black as the day, tar tan as indigo, colors of the spectrum, only shades apart, only shades apart. Red as fire, orange as mango, yellow as banana peels,